Hi lovelies, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're returning. I thought I would join in with the 13 nights of Samhain, which I think is a wonderful tag. I've been really enjoying the videos. I'm kind of joining in with the first 4 prompts. So I think the first 4 prompts are: what does Samhain mean to you? Share some wisdom from somebody who has passed. What is your soundtrack of Samhain? For me, it's silence and the sound of rain on the roof as I sit cozied up in blankets reading. It's also give us a glimpse of your Samhain altar, which this year I have set up at the end of my kitchen, and I am loving it. This has gone from being space really that I haven't used to a whole eclectic load of things, and I am loving it. It is where I set up my Samhain altar as well, and I've got some really special decks on here too. So I'm going to put the lights back on so we can see a bit better. I just wanted to show you this in the dark with the candles on because it is so beautiful and it smells so wonderful. And I'll talk through the prompts as I show you my altar. You can see I have a piece of my own artwork that kind of ties into a lot of these prompts, to be honest, because what does Samhain mean to me? It's visiting the liminal, visiting cemeteries, walking into the liminal to explore what's there. Liminality has been a huge part of my year of witchcraft this year, and I am loving it. So this is one of my drawings that I did about liminality, and it's on my Samhain altar. So liminality, and also of course connecting back with family members. I've recently bought my part of my ancestor altar. I do have other ancestor altars around the house, onto this altar because I'm loving it so much. This space is really special. That's my dad's mom, and that is my dad. Also, I've bought Maltesers for Dad this year. I bought him Maltesers. Every present I ever bought him was Maltesers. And then there is a giant thumb here that I put messages to him in because we both had club thumbs. I have got an offering bowl here. This year I am going to be opening love heart sweets for little messages. Up here I've got some of my dogs and my aunts and my uncles who have passed, and the swans going in 2 different directions. They represent healing for me, swans, healing and hope, and they're swimming both ways because I visualise ancestor work as a river that runs both ways. And if you do work with ancestors, especially healing work, you're healing the water flowing into the future for future generations, but also the past as well. I've got autumn leaves that we've caught. I've got some of my old roses that I've dried. Got my old dog, that's Maisie. Down here I have, up on here, along with my warrior army of different versions of me, I've got the 2 decks which I use for mediumship spreads set up here. So this deck here is a deck that my dad's voice came through. So this is the original Rider-Waite. I love this deck, it's so special. This morning I pulled a message for us all from my dad, and he gave us 2 nights, which I think is wonderful. It doesn't matter how slow you get in there, and this time of year I think it really does feel like a plod. It feels like a settling down, a slowing down at this time of year. I think the Knight of Pentacles really is that earthy, slow plod. It's not a time of racing, is it? So no matter what you're going through, and the underlying energy of this was the 5 of Swords. In fact, I checked the underlying energy card on every single card that came out, and it was the 5 of Swords every time. So I think this is a message for anybody who might be going through tough times. I know I've got some tough times I'm going through at the minute. My dad, he would say, just take it one step at a time, Bab, take it one step at a time. But whatever you're doing, do it with love. 2 nights moving this way, and you can do it. you've got all the tools you need, you can do it, would have been my dad's absolute message to me. You can do it. Also, a message from my dad. Every Samhain, what does Samhain mean to me? It is connecting with these safe ancestors. But also, every year I read this. This is my dad's autobiography, which he wrote before he died. And he got a copy done for me and my brother and my sister, and every year I sit and I cry and I read this, which I did yesterday actually, and it's just amazing. Look, it's got drawings in, it's got drawings of his old house where he lived in the back-to-back slums in Birmingham. Okay, the piece of advice in here. So my dad went camping when he was a young lad, and he recalls the story of going camping in here and not having any money, and him and his mate found a load of mushrooms. Look, this is the Christmas tree that they used to make when they couldn't afford a tree. Isn't that amazing? So he went camping with his friend, and they had no money, and they were getting hungry, and they found a load of mushrooms, and that they checked with the farmer, and the local farmer had said that they could camp in the field. And the story goes that they started to get a bit scared that they were toadstools, not mushrooms. He says, so we decided not to cook any till we were sure. So we started to cook a bit of bacon to make a sandwich. When I saw the farmer coming towards us, he wished us good morning and asked if we were okay and did we need anything. We thanked him again for letting us camp and said we were okay. Then I produced the bowl of goodies and asked him if they were mushrooms. He took one look at them and said, don't eat those, they're toadstools. I'd get rid of them, and mind where you throw them, as I don't want my cows eating them. Throw them behind the hay rick. They will be out of the way there. So the farmer goes on his way, and I dump my toadstools behind the hay rick. We finished breakfast and off we go fishing again. Sitting there fishing, I got to thinking about what my dad used to say, that if you wanted to find a mug in the country, you had to take one with you. So fishing over and back to the tent for a cup of tea and pack everything back onto the bike for the trip home. But before we left, I went to the hayrick, and sure enough, not a sign of a toadstool or mushroom. So take note, Dad was right. If you want to find a mug, take one with you. So the wisdom of country folk, from my dad and my dad's dad, advice there in my dad's autobiography, which again is what it's what Samhain means to me. It's connecting like this when the veil is thinnest. So two really special messages from my gorgeous dad, one from his tarot deck and one from his autobiography, which lives up here. So yeah, amazing. So for my nanny Brotherton, and my aunts and the ladies that have passed, that are safe, wise, crone energy, and I've got a crone pop vinyl there. I put regular flowers in these vases. I've got a single rose down here for Samhain. What else have we got? I've got a spell going on in that jar. Pumpkins. Samhain means pumpkin carving for me. Underneath here I've got like bigger pumpkins ready for the kids to do. So it's a time of family fun as well. It really is. It's a time of cleansing. And here underneath my dried roses, I love to let roses do their full circle all the way into death, which I think is fantastic on a Samhain altar. Although these roses get changed out regularly, this is ongoing through the year for me. But I also love to cleanse. That's one of the bells that I bought on a day exploring the liminal when I went back to my very first house where I lived with my dad, and got into the cemetery that our garden used to back on. So after that day I stopped off at Car Boot and found that bell. So I love to cleanse the house. That's another part of Samhain for me, cleansing with sound energy. I also love to have a incense stick going as well. And just for a general clean around this altar, I'm currently expanding my apothecary and I'm adding bits in to this, so that's been part of Samhain for me as well, just expanding my apothecary and thinking about the next place or step to take my practice. I've also set up a morning journaling next to my dad's autobiography. I've got morning journal here for in the morning, and I will sit and have a cup of tea with my dad because my dad loved a cup of tea. In fact, that's the one thing that I'm missing off my ancestor altar. I'm trying to find the cup and saucer that my dad always used to use. So it definitely feels like a family time for me, like fun with the kids, pumpkin carving, but also like reconnecting with past ancestors. I mean, you can see up here, look, I've got pictures of my aunts and my uncles and my old dogs. Look, there they all are on there, and Maisie. Oh, it's just such a lovely time of year. I do really, really love Samhain. Samhain, the time of the year when we all slow down. Definitely that slower pace, curling up in the late autumn sun. The dogs have got the right idea. Look at them. Mornings as well with like calming chamomile tea. The chamomile tea is back out just to be calm, to slow down, to take things one step at a time, just like my dad's advice in the tarot cards told us. Take things one gentle step at a time. The family trips out to farms that are all set up for Halloween with pumpkin patches, reindeers speaking of Christmas to come, and feeding the sheep in autumn as well. This a farm that Tilly just loves going to. I will admit as well that there is a shopping element to Samhain for me. It's when all the shops have all these amazing things packaged up as Halloween things. I didn't go mad this year. I bought those candlesticks. I bought this pumpkin bowl and the pumpkin candle this year. I also bought this amazing mushroom water cup as well. I love it. I bought a couple of these because of course walks in the woods and mushrooms, it's all part of Samhain and this time of year, and I just love all the things in the shop. I've realised that this time of year as well is about sorting my bookcases out. I always do it every Samhain, and I always love to read at this time of year. I'm currently reading Anne Rice's The Witching Hour, which I am loving, and cozying up under blankets to read. I found this blanket in the charity shop this week for £2. It's a hint of Christmas to come, Yule around the corner, but it is so snuggly warm. And I also found this fairy light tree for £5 in the charity shop, and my library corner is just feeling so welcoming at Samhain. So I think that's it really. I think that is like a glimpse at my Samhain altar. It's also a little chat about what Samhain means to me. There are a couple of pieces of advice from a much loved family member that has passed. And finally, this drawing that I did into the liminal reminds me another piece of advice that my dad used to give me, and I've always wanted a Russian doll tattoo because of this advice. My dad was born with a cleft palate and a hare lip, which the army fixed for him when he was in World War II. His life story is really quite incredible, but he was always a little bit disfigured facially, and because the cleft palate wasn't completely healed or closed, he did have a quite a strong speech impediment. Like, some people couldn't understand my dad when he spoke, and my dad very much taught me to never judge a book by its cover, to never go on looks, to go on heart, to look internally to people, that it was much more important to have an amazing heart than to be the most beautiful person on the block. What's inside counts. And whenever I see Russian dolls, I always think of that message. It's like, it's not how small or how big or how beautiful the doll is. It's like the excitement is what's inside. There's something else inside. There's something else inside. And my dad was just really keen on pressing that point to me. Probably the most insecure of his kids, the overweight kid of the family, the kid that got bullied because of the way she looked. My dad was always there saying, Bab, it's what's inside that counts. And my Russian dolls remind me of that. So that's my last bit of advice from my dad. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that quick little Samhain chat. I will leave links to the Wild Witch who started this tag, because it's lovely, and go and explore the tag. There's some lovely videos already out there. So thank you, the Wild Witch, and thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.